Assalamualaikum kids, and a very warm welcome in our today's video. Today we are going to start new chapter from our chemistry book, which is chapter number 4, Periodicity of Elements. And in the starting lecture we will be discussing the history of periodic table. So the first one to be discussed is the Dobereiner's rule of triad. So at the end of this video you'll be able to discuss the initial classification of elements, state Dobereiner's rule of triad, and discuss the limitations of this rule of triad. In the early era of science, only few elements were known, but new elements were being discovered, and in order to facilitate their study, हमें एक framework चाहिए था जिसमें elements arrange करके classify किए जा सकें. Previously, the classification was based on atomic masses of element because it was thought that the properties of an element were dependent upon its atomic mass. And as you all know that the atomic mass is the sum of number of protons and number of neutrons in an atom. The journey of the history of classification of elements start from 1829 AD when a German chemist Johann Wolfgang Dobereiner was studying different elements which were known at that time. He observed a relationship between the properties of several elements and noticed that the three elements with the similar chemical behavior, that is calcium, strontium and barium, the atomic masses of the middle element, that is the strontium, is almost equal to the arithmetic mean of the other two elements. This led him to call this group of three a triad, and he proposed the law of triad, which states that the central atom of each set of triad had an atomic mass almost equal to the arithmetic mean of the atomic masses of other two elements. Here are some of the examples for which this rule of triad was tested, like alkali former elements that are lithium, sodium and potassium. It was observed that the arithmetic mean of atomic masses of lithium and potassium is equal to the atomic mass of the central atom in the triad, in this case which was sodium. Same observations were made while testing salt formers that are elements belonging to halogen group, which are chlorine, bromine and iodine. Although it was successfully tested, but this rule cannot be extended to the classification of all the elements because it is true only in cases of very few elements, as shown here that there are three sets of triad. Most of the elements were still unknown and thus cannot be tested for this rule. So this rule failed to cover all of the elements. So that was all about the Dobereiner's rule of triad. Hope you understood the topic, and if you enjoyed the video, stay tuned for the next lecture about Newton's law of octave. So thank you so much. See you in the next video inshallah. Allah Hafiz.